So looks much tougher, I must admit, than my like 2-year regular MBA class. So, so how much time we have? Okay, great. So the topic for today's discussion is e-commerce product management, why it's different in 5 ways. Before I get into the presentation, I'll introduce myself. I am Pratyush. I have over now 10 years of product experience, and I was an engineer and then did my MBA, and post my MBA I have been in product management role. I started my career with Naukri, 99 acres, then LimeRoad, and currently I'm working for eBay. And so I've worked across startup, across mid-sized company, and across now working for an MNC. And in terms of product, I have worked for a classified site. I've worked for marketplace, social e-commerce, and now of course e-commerce, right? So happy to be here and share my experience with you guys, right? Okay, before I get into the presentation, I have to say this disclaimer that all the views expressed are mine only, and it has nothing to do with my organization eBay, or does not reflect views of other organizations, right? So the way I have thought about this presentation is that we'll start with the definition of e-commerce, so that we are all on the same page, and then we'll discuss about some types of e-commerce, look at some North Star metric for e-commerce companies, and then we'll get into the our core topic for today, which is how e-commerce product management is different. Great, sounds okay? Okay, so we start with the question, what is e-commerce? Can you guys help me with the definition of e-commerce? Yeah, great, that's good one. Can you be little specific more? You're just missing one word. Yeah, so it's a activity of buying or selling products or services online, right? So your usual examples are, of course, Flipkart, eBay, Amazon. These are all examples of e-commerce company. But what about Airbnb? Do you think Airbnb is an e-commerce company? Yeah, it's giving service. But Airbnb is of course an e-commerce company, but it is, more specifically, it's a travel company, and it competes with, hotel chains and hotels of the world, right? Similarly, Netflix, is that a e-commerce company? Yes.
So for that matter, any aggregator who's doing, selling products or services online,
yeah,
they are e-commerce.
Yeah, right. But so Netflix, of course, is again an e-commerce company, but more specifically speaking, it is an entertainment company and competes with HBOs and of course Amazon Prime as well. Uber is third example. Uber, what do you think? It's again an e-commerce company. Yeah, it's a transportation. It's in transportation domain, but they also have this Uber Eats, which is a food e-commerce, right? So they are a mix of both. So the word e-commerce, though I say that product or services, it's generally associated with retail commerce. Retail commerce involves after the transaction, there is a physical good that needs to be shipped, right? As opposed to the travel agencies and all, where digital certificate is issued, you buy a ticket, and that's the end of the story. And the eBays of the world and Amazons of the world compete with actual retail stores, like with Walmart. Walmart is a competitor for Amazon. Here in India, for example, Big Bazaar would be a competitor for Flipkart. So the term e-commerce is generally kind of associated with the retail commerce. But not to discount the online travel companies, they actually represent a huge chunk of online commerce. So if you look at India space, 60% of online commerce is through these online travel agencies. In fact, the retail commerce is just the 40% of the overall online commerce, right? So next we can get into the type of e-commerce company. As I told you that it's activity of buying or selling. So on the basis of buyer and sellers, we can look at what are the typical e-commerce companies. So of course we have B2C, B2B, C2C and C2B e-commerce company. Yeah, so I'll come to that. So B2C is business to consumers, right? And your typical examples that we just discussed, eBay, Amazon, so those are the example of B2C company, right? B2B is business to business. So you have like small businesses selling to other small businesses, or small businesses selling to larger businesses. So yeah, Alibaba, IndiaMart. So those are the examples I also got on my slide. C2C is consumer to consumer. OLX, what else? Quicker. Yes. Yeah. So OLX and Quicker typically they are a classified site. For e-commerce, there has to be a payment. The payment has to happen on the platform. So the way OLX or Quicker work, that you find a lead and then you contact that guy on phone and then you make the transaction offline. So that's not typically e-commerce. E-commerce means that the payment has to happen on the platform. But Quicker doorstep, that's an example of C2C commerce. Amazon sell. So what do they do? To the end consumer. Yeah. So all e-commerce company will have a component of C2C business as well. So Quicker doorstep is e-commerce is because, for example, recently I had to sell my study table and study chair, and I use Quicker. I made the payment, and I, as a consumer, was able to sell it to a student who was the final end consumer. So that's an example of C2C business. The last, quick ride. So you have a consumer. Yeah, I mean, here you are giving a service. So I'm talking more in terms of the product space. But yeah, that can be example of C2C service. C2B, there is not many example, but think about a situation where Amazon says that, okay, it collects all the used books from all the end consumers and then plans to sell it. So that can be an example where consumers are selling to the business. Right. Yeah, that's same Amazon's example, that the business will buy all the used stuff and then sell it on its own, right? So in this presentation, I'll be talking about B2C e-commerce companies. I'll be talking about the product management aspect of B2C e-commerce companies, right? So any guesses what is the size of, we all hear of this hoopla around e-commerce. So what is the size of B2C retail commerce, online commerce worldwide? Yeah. 200 billion? Little up? So by 2021, the B2C retail e-commerce is supposed to reach to, $5 trillion US, right? Yeah, currently it is somewhere around 2.8, close to 3. Sorry, the fonts are not great. So that's really a lot of money. And in fact, 18% of, the overall retail commerce, that is going to become online. That's going to come online, right? And as you can see, this graph is on an exponential growth. So, it will continue to grow as well. Now, this is the worldwide number. What is the number for India? What is the size of online commerce, retail commerce in India? 20%, very optimistic. 5%. Yeah. Yeah, I think it should be around that. So 5% of 5,000, how much? No, it's actually still a lot. So actually in India, currently the size is $25 billion only, right? And by 2022, we are expecting it to reach to $50 billion. And of course, this is nowhere close to what people were predicting, that by 2020 we'll have $100 billion worth of online commerce size. But nevertheless, you know, it's on a growing trajectory. I think we saw worldwide 18% of retail commerce has moved to online. In India, it is just about 2%. Okay. So before we get into the main topic of the presentation, I wanted to touch upon two key concepts. One is what are the kind of what are the business model around B2C e-commerce. So that's one. The other one I wanted to talk about this North Star metric, right? So there are three kinds of B2C e-commerce. There is one retailer model, then there is a marketplace, and then there is a marketplace plus retailer model, right? So in retailer model, you have a single seller. There is one seller which owns the whole inventory. So that's the retailer model of the B2C e-commerce space. And since the retailer owns the inventory, it can provide a very controlled experience. It knows what are the products it has in its inventory, what are the quality of the products. So it can deliver a end-to-end service to the consumer, right? Example of retailer would be Big Basket, JD.com in China is a retailer. So when you order from Big Basket, Big Basket actually has the inventory. They own the inventory, and then they have everything, and they ship it from their own warehouse, right? Second one is the marketplace. So marketplace, you have many sellers, and the platform as such does not own any inventory. Now, so there are good things and bad things with that. So of course, since you don't own inventory, you are asset light, right? And since there are many sellers, so there can be a variety of products on your platform, because sellers will bring this long tail and various kind of product onto the platform. But what you lose out on is this control. Like, you rely on these sellers to ship the quality product, right? So that's where you lose out on. But if you are a very highly scaled marketplace platform, you can really command a good premium for the services that you're providing, right? Example will be, of course, eBay, and Paytm Mall will be also an example of a marketplace. Then third one is this marketplace plus retailer model. You have many sellers on the platform, but the platform is also a seller. So Amazon and Flipkart, they fall into this category. In fact, Amazon started as a retailer, but now they have a very thriving marketplace. And in fact, more than 50% of the products sold on Amazon, they are from the marketplace. Again, Flipkart also started as a retailer, right? But if you read the media reports, you understand that midway they pivoted to the marketplace model, and that is where their kind of services started deteriorating, and now they have again gone back to the retail heavy model. Okay, so we talked about so many e-commerce company, but how do you know that which e-commerce company, how will you rank these e-commerce company? What are important metrics by which e-commerce companies are known? Or if you are a product manager in an e-commerce company, what are some key metric or your North Star metric that you will measure, right? So can you help me with some metric for e-commerce? Yeah, that's right on. Sorry? Right. That's also important. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So the North Star metric is, of course, GMV, which is gross merchandising value, which simply put is number of buyer, into the average order size. So if you have 100 buyers transacting and they have an average order of 1,000, so that becomes like 1 lakh rupees of GMV on a daily basis, right? So if you are a product manager for e-commerce, one of the core goal of the company is to grow GMV, and that can only happen when you grow the buyer base or you grow the average order size. True. But GMV is something that can be gamed as well. If you start selling like properties on your crores of rupees of properties or cars or gold bullion, then of course it can inflate your GMV a lot, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But GMV sometimes may not be, as we have seen in India market as well, GMV may not be the right indicator all the time. So especially, a lot of leading e-commerce companies are now following net promoter score. So you would know that when you make a transaction on Paytm or Flipkart, you are sent an email where you are asked to, how likely you are to recommend that, this service to your friends and family, and you have to rate between 1 to 10, right? Yeah. So if you are rating a service at a level of 9 and 10, then it means that you are truly in love with the brand. You are a promoter, right? And if you happen to rate it between 0 to 6, it means that you are gonna detractors, you're gonna talk negative things about it. So again, a net promoter score, there's one company-wide score, but it can be for a shopping experience, you can have 1 NPS. For shipping experience, you can have another NPS, like that. And then there are other metrics as well. I think you guys already mentioned some of them. Listing count is important. That tells you that how many sellers are trusting that platform and how many listings are there. Your visits, how many people are coming to the site. Active buyer we talked about. Conversion is another very, very important metric. So if your 100 visitors are coming, how many of them are becoming buyer? And when we talk about conversion, there is of course high level conversion, but with e-commerce metric, you have to always go deep dive and go deeper. So you will have one conversion number for your PC users who are coming on PC, conversion for mobile web, conversion for your Android app, iOS app. Then you have to look at conversion for paid traffic, organic traffic. So all these metrics are high level, but again, you have to go drill down and look at deep dive and look at these level as well. Repeat purchase rate we talked about. Some shipping metric which are important is this O2D, D2D, order to dispatch time, that is tracked. Then dispatch to delivery we need to track, right? And this can again vary by category. So if you are on a home furnishing, you will of course take longer, and you have to set the expectation by the category. And last one is the customer contact rate, which basically means that if 100 orders are happening and 8 people are contacting you, where is my order, or have there any of these questions, your customer contact rate is at 8%. And as a e-commerce, as a technology company, you want that number to always go down, right? So these are some of the North Star metrics, which bring us to our topic. Now that we are on the same page, e-commerce product management and why it's different in 5 ways. So what are some of the opinions that you guys have? Can you guys share why e-commerce product management is different in 5 ways? What do you think? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's dynamic. It's very real time. True. Mm-hmm. True, definitely. Because you're collecting money, there is higher accountability. True. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's very important piece, that how do you build the trust online, right? How do you come up with better metrics and better ranking for sellers and mechanism? So that's also important. True. Okay. So these are some of the 5 ways that I think matter in for a e-commerce company. User experience is, I think, one of the number one thing. It's a B2C company. It's a business to consumer. So millions of consumers coming to the site, and you need to provide a great user experience to all of them, right? And when we talk about user experience, it's not only buying experience. It's also selling experience. It's also the payment experience and the shipping experience that you provide. Returns, sure. So, for buying experience, what matters is that you have to be where your users are. If your users are using low-end device, you have to make sure that you do a good job of your application to function on the low-end device. They are using high-end device, you have to be there. If they are using Android, iOS phone, you have to make sure that you provide a great experience, whether it's tablet, whether it's PC. So, whatever device they use, you have to make sure that you provide a great experience. If your users are searching for products in Google, right, then you have to make sure that you rank in Google. If your users are spending time in social media, or using chat messenger and those kind of app, you have to build those hooks which can seamlessly take user from the app to these applications, right? If you're on the selling experience side, if you're a PM for a selling experience, one of the product challenges is this, that you want to upload a listing very quickly. If you're a seller and you list something, you just want to go to the site and be done with it. That's what your expectation is, right? But for a buyer, when a buyer is looking at the product detail, right, they want to see everything about that product before they take out their wallet. So how do you balance the need of a seller who wants to just be done with it quickly and the need of a buyer who wants a very comprehensive information? The other thing that a selling experience PM would be looking at is managing two end of customers. Like on the one side, you have a pro seller, right, who is uploading thousands of inventory every day, and these sellers will be like really demanding. They'll be like, give me the APIs, give me all these integration, right? And on the other hand, you will have a casual seller who has got this old phone which he or she wants to sell on the platform, and their expectation from the platform will be hugely different. They'll just want to mention it to you, and then you should take care of all the steps from there on. Payment is one of the core pillars of e-commerce platform, and we all know that when Flipkart introduced COD, cash on delivery, that's when actually the e-commerce kick-started in India. And that was because the credit card penetrations were low, and cash was the main mode of transaction for users. So you have to really see what is popular with your user, and you have to make sure that you provide those payment functionality and facility on your platform. A user may have a net banking account with a Dhanlakshmi bank, and you need to make sure that you integrate with their API, and make sure that you provide all those payment options. The other thing, as a PM for payment, you might be working on providing affordable payment options, EMI, buy now, pay it later. So those are the ways in which you want to improve payment. And payment is really the last step. So the user has already made all that effort of selecting the product. Now he's like reached the checkout page and he just want to pay you and be done with it. So here you have to really make sure that it's really hassle free and not a pain for user. Shipping, users' expectation have been increasing exponentially, so as to say, from same-day delivery to same-day delivery to now 4-hour delivery. That's where the user expectations are. So as a shipping PM, You need to make sure that you ship the product faster. You also have to work on reducing the shipping cost, because nobody likes to pay for the shipment, right? You have to make sure that you deliver the product that user really ordered for. You have to make sure that the product reaches to them in an undamaged condition, and once the product reaches to them and they're not satisfied, you have to provide a great return experience as well. So user experience is touches all aspects of e-commerce, and you have to make sure that you provide a fantastic user experience. And more so as a product manager, like business people can still have the liberty to think about business, their P&L, but product managers are custodians of users, and they need to make sure that they do a very good job of providing a great user experience, right? And one of the ways in which you can provide a great user experience, if you do a good job of product discovery. Okay, so what I mean by product discovery is that eBay has 1 billion listing live, and you have millions of consumer. So how do you really match a buyer with the inventory that you have? That's a very, very big problem for an e-commerce company, and you will always find product managers, engineers working on this problem, right? And what are some of the ways in which they do it? There's of course this search. You need to provide a great search experience. You type in a keyword. You need to make sure that you show the right product up front, higher up in the search ranking. For people who do not type in keyword, sometimes users just want to come to the site and browse the site. You need to make sure that you provide a great browse experience as well. Merchandising is again key. So, for example, when you go to your shopping mall or favorite store, you would see that they know what their fast trending items are, fast selling items are, and they'll make sure that they keep those products at those shelves which you can really see and grab easily. Similarly, in e-commerce platform, we have this merchandising platform, which is to showcase the best deals that are available, which is to showcase what are the trending products on the platform, right? Vertical. So, e-commerce, we sell from a lot of things, right? We sell fashion, we sell electronics, we sell home and furnishing, we sell mobile phone, and the buying behavior, the purchase behavior of the user for all of these products are really, really different, right? And you need to make sure that you really understand the buying need of the user for the vertical, for that vertical. So to give you an example, eBay has this vertical called eBay Motors. Now, if you go to, if you search for just the headlamp, you will get around 1.3 million results on eBay. But eBay Motors has done a great job of understanding that, okay, I own a Volkswagen Polo, and that's why it will show me only those headlamps which really, will fit in my car. So you have to come up with these use cases, and vertical is again a big domain, and you have to understand the whole buying process that user follows and kind of bring it online, right? Then on the other side, you have these personalization, recommendation, and product ads. We talked about it, right? There are millions of consumers coming to the platform. You need to make sure that you give them a very personalized experience. And since the user has been coming, browsing, looking at the products, you should better figure out, what are the price range he or she is interested in. What are the brands, or if they are looking for unbranded products. And using all this data, you can create a very personalized experience for the user that will kind of showcase the depth of product you have. The other one is this whole recommendation piece. We all know that when we go to the view item page, we kind of show other similar products, which also again brings out the inventory that the platform has. Product ads are also important. There are so many sellers, and they also need to showcase their product. So the way they can do it is, they can buy these product ads so that their product is visible to the users. one other thing that matters for product discovery is this whole content piece, right? So e-commerce, I was reading a nice article, and it says that in e-commerce, so when you go to offline store, you can of course touch, feel, see, smell, all of those senses are involved, right? But on e-commerce, you do not have that. So e-commerce companies need to create those experiences which can compensate for the lack of, lack of providing all those, stimulating all those senses for you, right? So the way it is done is through content. You go to the item page, you see good description, you have good images, good videos about the product, you have product reviews, seller rating, Q&A, all of that help you find the right product for you, right? So, so I think the product discovery is very key for an e-commerce platform, and you need to take all of these, method to kind of build a really efficient system which will help in product discovery. Talking about efficiency, I think this is the third thing I want to talk about. So e-commerce platform, they are low margin business. Suppose a Naukri, for example, has a profit margin of 30%. If you are a successful SaaS company, you can command 70 to 80% profit margin. But the profit margin for Amazon, for example, is 2 to 3%, right? So it's a very low margin business. You achieve profitability is through scale, with reaching out to so many consumers, right? And the reason, because it's a low margin business, you have to be very cost efficient. So as a product manager for e-commerce company, you can find yourself, working on spotting, inefficiencies and bringing these better models to reduce your cost, right? And of course, the way to reduce your cost is that if you are good at data, in and outs of your consumer behavior. So e-commerce company, of course, they have these real-time analytics, they collect a lot of data, and they look at the funnel of where user is dropping and all of that, and that really helps them figure out the spots where inefficiencies are, and try to improve that. You have to bring in a lot of automation. So wherever there is this manual intervention, you want to bring better data models, and you want to do away with a lot of these manual intervention as well. And that's important because e-commerce site is a site which is 24/7, 365 days open. When I moved from I used to work for 99 acres, and then I moved to LimeRoad, which was a startup and in e-commerce domain. Within 1 week, I think it just hit me that I am working for a store which is open 24/7, and we needed to make sure that site never goes down, because if the site goes down, it's actually a real loss to the business. It hits your top line. In a 99 acres scenario, for example, the user is buying a house. They typically have a long window to buy a house, right? But in an e-commerce world, people needs are like instant. They come to your site. If you're not able to deliver the product to them, they're just a click away to some other site. So it is very, very important that site reliability is very important. It is very important that the code that you roll out, that the feature that you roll out should not bring down the site, right? You need to come up with scalable solution. We know that when Flipkart launched their first Big Billion Day in 2014, there's a lot of, I think if I was reading something that about 20 million users reached one time. They hit the Flipkart server at one time, and of course brought down the site. So of course you don't want to create those experiences, you don't want to repeat those experiences, and that's why very important that you build scalable product. Mm-hmm. 200 pieces of what?
of the product that are there.
Okay.
Now these are sold out.
Mhm.
And we wanted to source them.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the demand, we decided to procure 150.
Mm-hmm.
And now when customer comes to the site,
Mhm.
purchase,
Mm-hmm.
now if some of the out of stock items are not sold to you,
Mm-hmm.
and then over time you start lessening the sale of those items anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't this cyclical loop kind of?
No, so if consumers are still searching for those products, then it is a job of the business people to get those products in stock again, right? They need to reach out to the sellers that, oh, hey, this product is in a lot of demand. I can give you this kind of sale. Why don't you come advertise on our platform? Why don't you list on our platform? So we do monitor what kind of search users are typing in, and basis that we figure that data is fed to the category team to give them an idea that what users are kind of looking for, right?
So let's say you have some thousands of these kind of digital products.
Right.
So does the team reach out individually to all those service categories to mention sellers, or?
Yeah, so when you have so when somebody searches and you get a 0 result or less than 10 inventory on the site, so that data is curated, that data is collected and shared with category team, so that they know that okay, users are searching for these kind of items on our platform. Is that your question?
No, I'm asking that they don't know.
Yeah.
There is some 2,000 products.
Huh.
Do they prioritize and only take a chunk, or they take it for all?
They means the platform. Yeah. So they will go by volume. So whenever users are searching for a keyword, if that keyword is being searched more, I mean that will be the first priority that you need to procure, right? So yeah, you can use these.
Basically, eventually the lesser search items they are slowly go out, because you always keep prioritizing on the.
Yeah, of course. So this is how the retail business works, right? So things which are in fashion is what you stock on your platform. But thankfully, that is if you are a big enough platform, there will be sellers who will be selling a lot of the other older items as well. So we'll find those variety as well, right?
How is the
Inventory
inventory
maintained. Yeah, so I mean, in the retailer model, they do maintain inventory and they have these warehouses, in various cities. And I'll not be able to give you exact details because I have not worked in those areas. But so for example, what will happen is that the data team will predict that how much demand of a phone is going to come from Delhi versus how much of demand for a phone is going to come from southern area, and basis that they will have whatever their warehouses are, they'll stock that many phones in those areas. So that's an example where they will actively manage the inventory. Yeah. So if you're talking about marketplace model where you have sellers who have come and listed, the goods actually sit with the seller, and when the order happens, and the seller is supposed to ship that good to the end user. The warehouse. Shops may not give you that, local shops may not give you that scale when it comes to like selecting the product. The warehouse has to be a large scale, right? Especially if you're a large scale business like Flipkart and all. You have to have a bigger. That's at the delivery end. Like, so how do you get the product delivered to the user, right? So how do you make it more flexible to the user? Because user may not be at home and you may want to ship to the Kirana store. Mm-hmm.
Those people can delivery faster, quicker.
Yeah.
Instead of having the Flipkart delivery.
Right. So that model will most likely be used in the grocery space, right? Grocery will actually function like that mostly. Yeah, but because in a store you can only keep limited items, and majority of that is going to be grocery and similar related items. That's a good question. I also thinking about that. I think probably you can have an industry connect with somebody who has worked in this domain, and he can give you more idea, or supply chain. Yeah, yeah. You can put in that request with Gayatri, I think. Sure. Huh. One example I gave, right? Suppose you have, so if you ship from the closest warehouse, you can reduce the cost. That's one of the options, right? Okay, okay. Hmm. Hmm. Rent out what? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so at eBay, for example, we partner with multiple courier companies, and we have, of course, negotiate charges with them and all of that, and then we also look at what kind of service they provide to each of the pin code, and we look at which courier partner is strong in which area, and we accordingly allocate. So when the shipment happens, there is this whole logic of LSP allocation. So which courier partner will be allocated to pick up the item from the seller and deliver it to the seller. We can talk about it, after the class. Sure. Right. Okay. So other thing I just wanted to quickly talk about is this. There is a e-commerce are characterized by having a peak season. We have Diwali here. In US, you have Black Friday, Thanksgiving shopping week. China, you have like 11/11. So as a product manager and an engineering person, you have to make sure that, and you will see that before these mega events, there will be a lot of activities that will happen. There are a lot of product releases that will happen, right? But just before the season, you will have this whole code freeze and moratorium in place, because a simple bug can again bring down the site or create issues for the consumer. So that's another aspect where yearly there's mega sale, and as a product manager and engineering folks, you have to prepare for those mega events. Last one is the site operations. So you have dedicated team. What they do is that they monitor at all these real-time metric. They have some dozens of metrics that they look at, and they also look at the news event. Because sometime it may not be your bug that has resulted in the lower checkout. It may be some event. Maybe there is a football match happening in Germany, and that at that time the checkouts are down. Or maybe there is some hurricane that has come and the checkouts are down. So, but when the issue is because of you, you have to be really available, really work with the team and make sure that the issues are resolved. So in that sense, product management role for e-commerce is a bit demanding, and you have to be on your toes. Yeah, definitely. And but if there is a product feature that you have released and you were the product owner for that, it is important for you to be involved as well, right? Okay, so we talked about all this user experience and the product discovery. The last thing I wanted to touch on, how different it is to work in a e-commerce product management on a day-to-day basis, right? So you guys have seen this circle, that how the PM works with different stakeholders, right? So who are some of the usual suspects? Yeah, 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 sure. Support as well. So yeah, these are the usual suspects that we have here. But when I joined, especially eBay, I started hearing this term a lot, BU. Like my engineering folks will ask me, do we have a buy-in from BU? BU stands, of course, for business units. So in e-commerce, I realized that there are, many stakeholders. You have a, category team, you have logistics team, you have legal team. So category team have their own yearly or quarterly targets, and you need to make sure that you work with them, help them deliver on that. Yes. So category team. So suppose there is a category called fashion. Okay, and now there will be a team which will be dedicated and reaching out to the sellers, getting the right inventory on the platform. So that's their job. So you need to really work closely with them. Then there is this logistics team. If you're on the shipping side, you need to work with folks who are dealing with courier partners and trying to onboard them and all, right? Then legal. Legal is very important because you're collecting money from people, from users, right? And that comes with a lot of responsibility. So many times I've got these mocks created, and then I had to send it to the legal team to get approval on the final wordings and all of that. So in e-commerce, you see that there are many more stakeholders. You need to get a lot more buy-in to be able to push out products. So you have to be able to deal with that, right? Okay. So let's just summarize how e-commerce product management is different in 5 ways. We talked about user experience. It's a B2C space, millions of consumer. You have to provide a great user experience. Product discovery. So you have billion listing, billion user coming. How do you really match them? So that's the product discovery aspect. Efficiency. E-commerce is a low margin business. You have to make sure that you cut down cost and you bring in these automation and efficiency into the system. It is a 24/7, 365 store. It's always open. You have to be on your toes if things go wrong. And the last one is that there are many stakeholders that you need to work with, right? Okay, so I have just one last slide on this, and that's what's next, what's coming next in e-commerce, what's the thing that people are working on, what's the thing that people will be working on in a couple of years. So what is your sense that what's next in e-commerce? Yeah. Alexa, right. Virtual experience, yeah, that's also there. You were saying something. Personalized products, yeah. The product is personalized for you. Okay. Yeah, that will always be there. I mean, that has been there from since day one. Like, yeah, some innovations can happen in logistics also. Yes.
I'm seeing more and more e-commerce players moving to their own kind of brand, their own kind of
yeah.
Their own product.
Yeah, unbranded products. Yeah.
That could be increase a lot, and they would
yeah.
eliminate the dependency on the retailer.
Yeah. That's also what we are seeing the trend. Sure. Cool. So some of the, I mean, you guys have pointed out a lot of things. Some of the things that I have on my slide are AI, of course, is going to be, game changing. You have been seeing all these demos from Google, and AI has been advancing. So the way I see it, the way AI will really work well is to improve all your algorithms, improve your product discovery. A product discovery problem can be solved through AI in a much better way. So what it means that with just few browse sessions, you will be able to create much better personalized experiences, right? At LimeRoad, for example, I spent a lot of time perfecting the filters, because we would see that when user apply filter, they convert better. So we would spend a lot of time. But if you have AI and advanced algorithms which will come next, what can happen that it will understand what is your really price range that you are interested in, what are the brands that you prefer, what are the colors you prefer, and it can give you much better relevance, to begin with, right? So AI will definitely help improve on the product discovery and on the user experience aspect of it. Then you have this, voice assistant, right? So, voice assistant, I see that the way, they are being used, at least right now, is that a lot of these mundane activities can get automated. So if you are in a, if you are in a bath, if you're in a bathroom and you remember that, okay, I need to order bath towel, you can just shout out to your voice assistant in the home because it's ubiquitous and it can maintain that shopping list for you. You are in the kitchen making some food and you realize that you are out of some product, and you can just tell to Google Home or Alexa or whatever it is, and it will maintain that shopping list, and based on your past purchases, it can find the right product for you as well. The other scope for voice assistant is that in India you have like 125 million users who understand English or speak English, right? So if voice technologies become better, is it possible that people can speak in their native language and the system is smart enough to understand and show them good recommendations? Next one I want to talk about is this whole expansion of e-commerce into newer categories. So grocery, healthcare, these will be some new frontiers for e-commerce, and grocery is going to be very challenging for the simple reason that grocery is not like books, right? Perishable, shelf-life, right? Everybody has different preference. Somebody likes like ripe fruits, somebody would like unripe fruit, right? And then the other thing challenging with grocery is, of course, you have to deliver immediately, instantly, right? Quality control, of course, those are the other issues. And the other thing is that you have to keep plethora of products. Given that India being a diverse country, people have so many food habits, you have to create, you just can't say that, okay, I'll just keep green veggies and I'll not keep these things, or even within green veggies, you will not keep these things. So you have to become the default destination for online grocery shopping. You have to keep all these products. So all of that makes it really challenging, but I'm sure it will be very interesting as well. Next is this expansion of e-commerce to tier 2, tier 3 cities. And why that is important is because, if you read Economist report, it says that in a country of 1.2 billion, there are just 50 million online shoppers in India, right? And we looked at the main North Star metric for e-commerce is GMV, and which grows when you grow the buyer base. So that will happen when Indian e-commerce company at least are able to reach out to tier 2, tier 3 cities. And some of the ways it can happen is through affordable products, through affordable payment, EMI payment solutions. Yeah, cash on delivery is already there. Other ways it can happen is that you provide a very visually rich content to the user when they go to the product page, because they may not understand English that well, right? Other thing that can happen is that you provide very curated experience to the user. The other day when I was in a shop, I was in a mobile shop, and this guy walked in and he wanted to buy a phone between 5 to 10,000 rupees range, right? And he got 4 of his friends with him to come with him to help him decide what is the right phone, because 5 to 10,000 rupees investment is a big investment. So how do you create that kind of user behavior that you see in an offline world, in an online world, and then how do you build these experiences? That will be key to get into tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? Last one is this whole idea around new retail. There's offline to online, or an online to offline. You see these retail commerce companies like Walmart, which are buying online companies like Flipkart, and then online companies are buying retail store. So with that, there will be much closer integration between your online and offline experiences. Right now, you walk into a store, right? The store knows nothing about you. It does not know what kind of product you have bought in the past, and it cannot provide a much more personalized service, right? You're trying out a shirt and you just the size doesn't fit you, and you just throw that shirt and get out of the shop. There are avenues here to capture those moments, and possibly the store can ship you that product in your size later on. So these are okay. Oh, really? I haven't experienced that. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Where is the store? Okay. Okay. It's here in Bangalore? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so these experiences will get built on, and these are of course the obvious ones. When they work together, there will be more deeper use cases that will come out. So that's all I had, and I hope that I was able to give you a flavor of what happens in an e-commerce company, and I hope that once you guys graduate, you will consider working for an e-commerce company in a product role. So, हाँ 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 हाँ
from our curriculum and from practical learning, right? This asset is even more enriching than you would have to our mind. That from people who would have practiced as product managers for over 10 years or 11 years like you, हमको लगता है कि हमारे पास जो हमारा खुद का फंक्शनल स्किल है, doing whatever we have done for 10, 15, 20 years, and then taking this intervention, we have a much enriched quality to be able to generalize a lot of things and then say, yeah, is done. Say we can build any industry now.
Right.
Now I can take on any idea, take on any area, go figure out on the idea, and I can do it. But when we take all this masala that we have and we venture out in the market, yes, if we become entrepreneurs, we'll become, but becoming an entrepreneur has got a lot of other issues also that has to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Personal issues as well has to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Job milega, so it's slightly better.
Right.
If the pay will be much lesser than what I would get as an entrepreneur eventually, or I would return would be lesser.
Yeah.
However, this asset would now help the organizations far better than if they would have just hired a product manager who came out of college and did product management for over a few years, but nothing else.
Yeah.
How is the market? Is the market able to see something like this happening? Say in your company, now that you have come, you have known this and I have also told you this. You go back to your company. Do you think you could take back a message like this to your company and then eBay can come back?
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I think so in technology industry specifically people have a preference for students coming fresh out of the college, right? But I think that's kind of changing. I think there was one very good article by the Ken. I don't know if you guys have read that, and they have a series of 2 articles where they discuss this problem. I can share if that's allowed. I think there's no simple answer for sure. I think these kind of classes that is happening, this is also new. Industry has also to realize that there's a dedicated product leadership class that is happening, and then I don't know if you guys go through the regular placement. Do you have that kind of opportunities, or you reach out on your own?
So we're trying a lot of things in those aspects as well.
Yeah.
But what you want to understand from practical like you,
see, one of the things what happens is, especially I've seen this happening in the lateral entries, and I've seen that happening in IIM Calcutta's the PGP, the 1-year program that they have for executives and all. Yeah. So most of the time, what will happen generally is that people have some background and they come into the do MBA, and then post MBA they naturally tend to go to, and also those kind of offers come very easily, where there is a company which has worked and you have that kind of experience, they will like to take you on a managerial role. So so that happens. I think you have to find that niche. For example, I'll tell you about when I was working as an engineer. I was working on search and those products. And then when I got this opportunity to work at 99acres, I was doing product management for search, and that came very easy to me, and that really helped me shine and all of that. So so you have to make a decision on your own as well. Like, do you want to take that path, or do you want to try out completely new things? When you're trying out completely new things, the other person will be little skeptical, right? And he will want you to prove by working in a startup first or working in some other role before they can really take you. So it will work both ways.
So this is one kind of what you're saying is kind of, because almost all the industry connect that we had really posed this question. We got this answer that better to see if you can take your startup.
Yeah.
And then see that you also work.
Yeah.
So that is a handbook and mindset here as well. That is very on that to see both demonstrable aspects and the company to get higher.
Right.
Suppose you are a product manager of IT. And today you have to define something for people who have not come from technical product management or engineering services or product management or project management.
Yeah. Right.
The eliminating the huge chunk out of the last.
Right.
Now people who have come from a completely different background, operations, sales side, some different marketing is not that. Marketing is not sales. Sales and operations, or service delivery, stuff like that. But they have now this is the way.
Right.
And they will also demonstrate that.
Right.
So they are also doing different things.
Right. Right.
So on and so forth. What, apart from the product manager that we have, that's fine.
Yeah.
Apart from that, what else you as a product manager suggest? Yes, as an ideal product manager, that's a very essential function of ours to also be able to get maximum time.
Yeah, so I can relate to your question in the sense that, okay, now I have worked in on a B2C side. I worked on classified and e-commerce and all of that. And now if I want to work for a B2B company to get a flavor of how does the B2B product management look like, I think it will be a tough challenge for me to kind of prove, or I will have to build something. I'll have to do something, build some kind of a specialization to be able to kind of get a B2B kind of job. Because what happens is that people tend to keep you in a bucket. That, okay, you are an expert of that. When we need you, like, we'll draw that experience from you. But product management as such is a very generic skill, and I have seen people who have B2C experience and they want to go to B2B experience to just try it out. It is difficult. Again, they have to prove. You have to find your own innovative way to find some link, or find a guy who can kind of believe in you and then onboard you. And yeah, you have to go through the same recurrent process. Don't have the straightforward answer, but when you are making a change, it is always hard. Like, I can always say that, oh, I am a product manager, I have a very generic skill, but again, people say, oh, you have e-commerce experience, so okay, Walmart will take you, Amazon will take you, and some other random company will say, oh, no, we don't have, we have a very different business model. And that is one challenge as well. Like, if you are a core engineer, you can still work on Java and all your databases and stuff, and you can work seamlessly across all these companies. But if you're in a product space, you are aligned to business, so you have to understand that business. So you have already understood that business. Now it is up to you. You really want to be in that business, or you again want to change and then learn some new business. So yeah, it will require convincing. If you have similar background, of course there are many companies which will take you who work in that domain. But if you want to change, then you have to find your own innovative way to get a foot into that company and then build from there.
One last thing, so when we put this in industry connect, one of our key outcomes that we expect that will come out of this industry connect, to become our ambassador. We take this message out in our peers, and more importantly, to be in our organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Sure. No, this. Yeah, and I was just listening to the schedule that you guys have. It looks like a lot of rigor. If you guys come out of this, maybe we'll have to look for some other job. Yeah, sure. I'll send out that message definitely. Great. Yes. Yeah. So that's a very good question, and eBay started. It was the first entrant, right? And I think I'll say two, three main reasons. One is that what we did was that we had this platform which was called Bazi, and it was a very thriving platform. And then eBay acquired Bazi to enter into India, right? And what they did was what we did in here was that we extended our global platform to India, and that gives you a scale. But then that also kills some of the good things that was happening on Bazi. Or if you are off platform, it is much easier to adapt to the local scenarios and respond quickly. So I think that is one reason. The other is marketplace. eBay is essentially a marketplace model. In fact, as I was given an example of Flipkart moving from retailer to marketplace and then again went back to the retailer heavy model. In India, it is little hard to build that kind of trust. Seller have to make sure that they always deliver quality product. You may not expect that to happen always. So being marketplace is kind of another challenge. And third, which was also a nail in the coffin in the sense that these companies got a lot of VC money, right? They started discounting. It became much cheaper to buy on these platforms. And of course, they had the India platform. They could innovate on our India stack and provide a better experience. So I think those are the couple of reasons. But now we are part of eBay domestic is sold to Flipkart, and you will see it in some new avatar. We'll see.
I was one of the earliest eBay users about 10 years back when I was in the US.
Okay.
But then I shifted to India and I tried using it, but then it stopped. What's the plan for me? People like me to be coming back to the platform?
Yeah, so of course eBay, you can still shop on ebay.com, eBay UK platform, all those platform, and there are products that can get delivered to you. eBay, yeah, I mean we can talk about that offline. I don't want to, because this is like Walmart and Flipkart merger happened recently. It's still under approval process, so I can discuss with you separately on this. I don't want to make any generic statement here, so just want to be careful. Reverse logistics. I won't be the right candidate to answer that. I have mostly worked on the shopping experience piece and all of that. But if you have a specific question, do reach out to my email address. I'll try to get an answer for you.